Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up. The line's wrapped around the stadium. Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill. Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome in to a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live here on this Friday. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind. We'll talk to yes. Richard Nelson, a governor candidate. I guess it's not governor. Is it gubernatorial?
I think it's gubernatorial. And I was actually thinking about that on the way here, and I was just laughing by myself in the car saying gubernatorial. Is that right?
Yeah.
I feel dumb for not knowing for sure if that's right,
governor.
but I think it is.
Governor. He's running for governor. Richard Nelson.
Yes.
He's going to be here at 8 a.m. He looks 16.
He does.
He's 36 years old. He's got crazy experience in the legislature, so he's going to talk to us about some of the things that he's running on and what it's like to be a young face in Jurassic Park. Really,
we gotta maybe run that ad.
Yeah, it's great.
Like on the break or something.
Yeah, it's great.
It's amazing.
We'll talk to him coming up here at 8 a.m. We're also going to talk to Ben McDonald coming up here at 7:30 this morning. Of course, McDonald, former LSU legend, current baseball. He breaks down baseball for both Major League and college baseball for ESPN. He's going to stop by here at 7:30 this morning. We'll talk to him specifically about this LSU team. The hype on this LSU baseball team is absurd. It's crazy.
It kind of makes me nervous.
I agree.
Too much hype?
I agree. It's a little too much. And we'll ask Ben, because Ben was the one last year that was talking about Tennessee. Remember, talking about how they were the best roster that he had seen, maybe the best team that had been put together, and they didn't even make it to Omaha. So this LSU team has some vibes of that as well. So
I just don't want anybody to get disappointed.
Yeah, it's tough, man. So baseball's such a long, it's just such a long season.
It is.
You know, you gotta withstand the whole year. Hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind. We'll be here with you until 9 a.m. So we'll talk some baseball. Last night, the ladies tested Georgia. Kim Mulkey called it. She was saying it right after the game on Monday night versus Tennessee. She was saying it throughout some of her press stops along the way before tip-off last night that Georgia was for real. Georgia was a team that was going to test LSU. They were going to put pressure on LSU, and Coach Mulkey was curious on how they were going to handle it. And the Tigers had to hang on and were able to battle through and win in overtime. Angel Reese, another double-double on the night, 82-77 win for LSU. Alexis Morris was cold throughout the first half. She did explode in the fourth quarter and in overtime as she was able to score 15 last night. But Reese had 11 of her rebounds on the offensive end, which turned out to be really one of the difference makers for LSU as they got 20-second chance opportunities last night against Georgia. But a fierce game. I thought LSU looked a little tired. I really did. I thought they looked a little sluggish. I thought they looked a little,
And Kim, too. Like, she wasn't as wild as she normally was, I thought, until Flau'jae fouled out, and then you could read everything she said coming out of her mouth, like when she was screaming at her. Right. But other than that, she was very I mean, she was very focused, but she just wasn't as
Yeah.
angry and jumping around as much as she normally
Flau'jae
was.
with 2 big freshman mistakes last night.
Yes, she did.
Can't foul the shooter.
Yeah.
She did.
And look, at some point that's going to happen. You know,
Yeah.
every freshman. I mean, Harold Perkins had his moments. You know, where I mean, you just you go through some things that at some point you're going to be a freshman. You know, no matter how good you are, how good they've played. I mean, Flau'jae's been fantastic. You heard what Coach Mulkey said about her on Tuesday morning about, you know, what she did Monday night versus a potential first round WNBA pick for Tennessee. Is, you know, she held her to 11 points and really battled the entire night and really grew up, took some strides. But at some point, she's still going to have some growing pains of being a freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the nature of the beast, man. I mean, at some point that's going to happen. So,
Who was the Diamond?
yeah,
The South Carolina player. They're a good player.
Yeah, she balled.
Yeah, she did.
She balled. No,
What is
she
it?
got a great. It's like Diamond.
I forgot her last name.
I just was looking at it.
Dang it.
Just looking at it. I got it. Everybody
Somebody's
chill.
gonna say it.
Everybody
She-
calm down. Calm down.
She was really good. She was really, really good. And the atmosphere, again, I thought was fabulous.
Yes,
The
I thought so
feedback,
too.
That
I
was
thought so
Jack
impressive.
got a lot of camera time.
Diamond Battles.
Diamond Battles.
Our
Yeah,
guy,
how did I
Jack.
forget that?
Ballard was all over TV.
He was.
all over.
I
Yes,
love that.
I think the camera loves his face.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Good
He has
looking
a
guy.
great
Yeah,
face.
he's got a good smile.
He's very symmetrical and
Right,
just
right.
overall attractive, and
Just good looking guy.
You know?
You know?
Yeah.
it helps to be symmetrical. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, I mean, it works.
Friday.
Works for me.
Remember our friends down in New Orleans. Speaking of Katie's Restaurant. Katie's Restaurant on this Friday. If you're heading to New Orleans, stop in and see them there on Iberville Street. Get a taste of the city, taste of the neighborhood. Been around since 1984. Online, katiesinmidcity.com. katiesinmidcity.com. Great selections, and
Hit him
they
up
got
tomorrow.
great restaurant as well with Francesca's, their sister restaurant.
Have you
in
been there?
Mid-City. I'm not.
Maybe I need to try that then
I know,
tomorrow.
yeah.
I have not tried Francesca's. I'm sure it's fabulous.
I'd imagine it would be. So LSU ladies hang on last night to get the win. Tomorrow the men host Alabama.
This experience.
I don't know,
I'm
man.
so scared.
I don't know.
I might go just to watch Bama play.
Right? Yeah,
For
right.
real.
Have a chance to maybe watch the potential national champ play. It's a bad spot for LSU.
But
There's
Alabama,
no way to sell it.
there's a crack in Alabama, and we all know this. Will Wade said it. Mississippi State almost beat Alabama and lost by 2 points. And then who did Alabama play? Oklahoma beat Alabama after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's
Yeah,
not.
but-
but they're cracking a little bit.
Look at
I'm just
Oklahoma's
saying.
team and look at LSU's team.
I know.
Then-
I'm just saying it might not be as bad as we think that it's going to be. Can we agree on that?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
We can agree to
I'm
disagree.
just trying
I
to
am
be positive.
I am expecting the worst here, and hopefully I get surprised.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
That would be my
Like-
strategy.
I can
I'm
deal with
expecting
that.
100
I
to
mean-
like 50.
Oh no! Don't say that.
But
no.
if we
Steve,
get-
It's a terrible matchup.
Right. If we get
It's
75
terrible
to 50, I'd be cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
but don't say 100 to
I'm
50.
look.
That's
It
bad.
can get ugly.
Yeah,
It
good.
could get ugly.
It's always
And then
ways.
The women are going to play again on Sunday at Texas A&M.
Yeah. I thought they
That'll
were
be-
playing at
It's a
South
quick
Carolina.
turnaround, man.
You thought what?
I thought they were at South Carolina on Super Bowl Sunday. Well, it's
Yeah.
not
This
Super Bowl
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
got
Super
1
Bowl
week.
Sunday.
Oh
You ahead.
God, I'm. Oh
You're like a week ahead.
yeah, it's the Pro Bowl.
That's right.
That BS.
That's right. That's right. So I'm sure that'll be another win over Texas A&M women's, right? I don't think they're
Don't tell Kim Mulkey that. It's not a guaranteed win.
well. True, nothing is.
She'd probably get on you about that.
She probably would.
She'd be like,
Don't
Jordy,
tell
I
her."
heard that lady on your show talking about.
What the hell that lady thinks she's talking about?
We're going to talk to Ben
Jason
McDonald
is.
coming up here in about 20 minutes. And yesterday, I don't know why this was hitting. Why was the Dale Brown court yesterday so?
I don't know.
It was
I don't know,
everywhere.
I was wondering,
I
something
mean,
new happened?
I saw Jacques tweeted out something that Tim Brando had said.
Oh, God.
I saw that Moscona went nuclear on Dale Brown court. Big Ben McDonald was getting in and getting involved on this. So we'll talk to a little bit about him on his thoughts here. But this is something that, you know, I mean, we've been talking about for a while now, and I believe, you know, as we've stated, that this is done.
Yeah.
You know, like this is a done deal. I don't think that people are waiting on the votes. I don't think people are anticipating, you know, what the turnout and the outcome is going to be.
Well, when's the vote? Is that why they're talking about it now? Is it coming up?
Yeah, I
really
guess
soon?
the board of directors meeting is coming up here.
Okay.
And that's
Is
when
it like today?
ultimately it'll be announced. If it's not today, it's coming up. I guess we need to find that out.
Okay. So I guess that's
I
why.
mean,
they're
I'll go sit
talking
outside
about it.
LSU administrations.
What?
I said I'll go sit outside the administration building
What are you gonna do out there?
with a little camera, just see who's coming out.
That's true.
Gotta
But
see
it's
where the, you know.
it's a mess.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
is.
I mean, it is a mess on the political warfare that it has brought back up on LSU's campus.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the fallout's going to be. I don't know what you know, ultimately what's going to shake out from the politics of it, but I know that a lot of mud has been slung in this, and the Dale Brown Sue Gunner court, or Sue Gunner Dale Brown court, is happening. I mean, that's
Friendships have been lost.
yes. I mean, it's going to be a very polarizing, you know, one side versus the other type setting. But I think, you know, I don't think I've been told by multiple people that seem to know exactly what's going on here that this issue is it's voted on. It's done. I mean, it's going to change, and you know, as we reported a couple of weeks back, I mean, this has touched the highest political seat in the state of Louisiana. I mean, the governor's office has gotten involved on this.
So we're talking about
The
basketball.
gubernatorial area.
I think the people who are on opposite sides should like play a basketball game for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something.
Whoever wins
That would actually be
gets
so
the court
amazing.
naming rights.
I mean, Dale Brown's camp would get the automatic, I guess, advantage there. They got Collis.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's a
sorry.
tough matchup.
You know, I mean, you want naming rights, get better players.
But I would say this. I don't think anybody deserves to have their name on the court. I really don't. I think that you
Really?
can. I
like
don't.
every court has someone's name now. Have you noticed that? Like almost every court has a signature on it. It's the so-and-so court.
Yeah, and for those people, it makes a lot of sense. But there's still a lot of courts that don't.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for
You know,
sure.
and I think nothing looks more out of place, and nothing looks more just politically dumb than throwing people's name on courts for people's pleasure, for people to say that that's their. Put Dale Brown's name on the practice facility on the men's side.
Right.
Put Sue Gunner's name on the practice facility on the women's side. Every person that ever means anything to women's or men's basketball that walks through that arena will see their name for the rest of eternity. I mean, why does their name have to be on the game floor that in reality, let's just put their names up on a whiteboard and just start just pro and con each side. Neither of them have a national championship. To me, that should be one of the top criterias of putting somebody's name on a building, on a floor, on a playing surface, on something that is going to make just every time you say the arena, you say Pete Maravich Assembly Center. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete Maravich is one of the best college basketball players ever, if not the best. He's recognized as the best scorer of all time, and he came from LSU. LSU should recognize that. Dale Brown never won a national championship. Sue Gunner never won a national championship. Sue Gunner's in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Dale Brown did a lot of good stuff for 25 years, not only on the floor, but off the floor as well in the community, and was recognized in that. Did they do enough to have the game floor named after them? In my opinion, if I had a vote, I don't, so it doesn't mean anything, I wouldn't vote for it. I would say no, to stay away from this. If they want and are in this crusade to name the floor after someone, my first person that I would nominate would be Shaquille O'Neal.
Yes.
I mean, who's more notable? Or Simone Augustus.
Right.
Or just leave it alone until somebody wins a national championship, because I got money on over the next decade that Mulkey wins multiple. And in 10 years, the whole argument might be blown up. And they might be scrubbing Sue Gunner and Dale Brown's name off the court, become some politically tied argument within the board of directors is saying, y'all should put Mulkey's name on the court because somebody finally won a national championship that coaches in the building. I mean, this has been a lot of hot air and a lot of grandstanding and a lot of political weight being thrown around for really no reason.
I know that really
like there's so many more fights on LSU's campus that deserve this type of passion and this type of energy. It's getting wasted over, and no disrespect to either of them, because both of them, without the basketball programs, don't exist. But all of this over Sue Gunner and Dale Brown's name being on the court, like, for real?
I know. It is really weird.
I mean, all the stuff that's plaguing LSU right now, and we're throwing our energy and our passion into this fight?
Well, but look at what we're doing. Maybe it's a deflection. We are throwing our energy and passion into this fight with all the other stuff plaguing LSU.
But it's just, this is how LSU used to run their business.
Yeah.
This was the reputation of LSU. They couldn't get out of their own way.
Right.
People would look at it and say, golly, I mean, like, y'all are down there infighting, when if you would just take a step out, you would realize y'all are sleeping on a gold mine.
Right.
You know, like, your football program could be a contender every year. Your baseball program, which nobody makes money off of baseball. Or there was a time when no one was making money off of baseball except LSU. They were the only one that was making money on that. And you have a chance to turn these other sports into money makers as well, but everybody wants the political power, and everybody's pointing within. Everybody's saying, this is what my weight means, or I'll call the governor. I'll get the governor on the phone. And our governor right now is dumb enough to pick up the phone and get involved. I mean, really, like, nobody around the governor's like, yo, Gov, I wouldn't touch this.
I'm heading over there right now.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, put the phone down, man.
Get the car ready.
You know what I mean? Like, New Orleans is on fire. The mayor is banging her security detail. Baton Rouge is getting people murdered on Government Street 3 blocks from the governor's mansion. And you're going to get involved in the Dale Brown-Sue Gunner fight? I wouldn't touch that, man. I wouldn't get involved in that. But he is, and he has been, and he made a phone call to say this is what he wants, and this is what's about to happen. And for that, there's a political fallout at LSU that we probably can't detail, but it's nasty. You know, like, it's unwarranted. It's for what LSU is fighting and where LSU is going up against and what they're trying to compete against in the conference. This is so much wasted time and energy and so much political weight being wasted that it's disappointing. I mean, really. I mean, like, when you think about it, kind of like step back and look at it from a 30,000 square foot view, like, I can't believe that they're spinning wheels on stuff like this when they're fighting the type of fights that they have to go up against. Yeah. I mean, it feels like 1987 at LSU dealing with this BS. Really. You know, and I know that there's people that are passionate about putting those names on the court, and I get it. I understand for people that feel passionate in both arenas, but to spend so much energy and time on this in the business of LSU, let the people outside debate it. You know, I mean, if Moscona, Culotta, Ben McDonald want to talk about it on Twitter, let them. But the board of supervisors within throwing daggers and pushing political weight around and getting the governor involved and, you know, bringing in the new president on something like this is a lot of wasted energy. It's a lot of wasted time, and it's probably a lot of stuff that's falling off because people are dealing with this. And that, to me, is the part that is just gross. I mean, like, give me a break, man. You know, I mean, those are appointed positions to get business done on university campus. The fact that y'all are up there throwing political daggers on whose name should be on the court after a year, it just was voted on last year. I mean, like, the paint's not dry.
I know. Why is it coming back up after that?
Politics.
That's the weirdest part about it, is it's been a year, or has it even? And this is coming back up already. It's really odd.
It's about, you know, it's going to come out. It's about to be public. I think the board of directors meeting is February 10th.
Okay.
You know, and I know that that's on the agenda. And I also have been told that it's done. It's over. Like, it's not up for really debate. I think the votes are in. The governor made a call.
That the name is staying.
No, that the name is being changed. It's going to be Sue Gunner, Dale Brown Court.
Okay. So you think it's a done deal?
Yes. I mean, I've been told that Dale Brown's been notified.
Really?
Yes.
Jeez.
Like,
Does he care?
Does he care?
Does he care that much?
People around him believe this is going to kill him.
Why, though?
Because he wants his legacy.
But, I mean, it's still there. If it's the Sue Gunner, Dale Brown Court, like, why he can't share it?
I can't speak for that. I don't know that.
Coaches
are
but I think that,
you know, I mean, what coach do you know right now that doesn't have an ego?
I mean, for sure, yeah.
You know, that doesn't go away as they get older.
Right.
It probably grows more, right?
Yeah.
And he wants his due respect, and he thought that he had that, and now it's being kind of taken away from him, and now it's being kicked around in politics. This is how business was done when Dale Brown was the coach at LSU. This is this is what it feels like.
Yeah.
Is that
that's weird.
It feels
it's
as
ironic.
if like it feels like the mid 80s.
Yeah.
It feels like the 90s when Dale Brown was here. This is how stuff was handled. You know, it was nothing but a political war. It was nothing but of the old heads versus the new heads, or the young and Richard Nelson.
Yeah.
That's exactly what our guy's fighting.
Right.
I mean, he's 36 years old, going in there with new ideas, and there's people that are saying, I don't care how smart he is, how good of a smile he's got, he's not succeeding.
But he's a Republican, so that helps.
But that's Louisiana politics.
Yeah, I know. It's
and that's
messy.
Louisiana politics is,
It's
I mean,
weird.
the LSU board of directors is politically appointed positions. So, I mean, which in itself is dumb.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
which in itself makes zero sense, but you're in Louisiana, so everybody just keeps shuffling it through, just keep it moving. Don't look. Don't look.
What a state we live in.
You know what I mean? Don't look over there. Everybody's kind of peeling off the top. Nobody's doing their business. They're fighting over whose name should be on the basketball floor. I mean, it's just...
What a state.
I know.
It
For
was...
real. But
and
it is weird to go back and change it. I do think that. I do agree
It definitely
that
is.
this weird.
It absolutely is.
I mean...
But I'm telling you, what happened here, real quick, where are we? 7:24. We'll get Ben McDonald here in a couple of minutes. The Dale Brown camp met with William Tate before he got the job and right when he landed and said, hey, man, you want a little political pass? You want to ingratiate yourself with, the locals? Vote Dale Brown Court in. And Tate's like, all right, well, I don't know anybody here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm new here.
That sounds good,
Yeah.
Collis.
It's only my third day here.
Like, that's awesome.
Right.
I'm in. And a year on the job, once you kind of like get to know the lay of the land, people are like, man, you really pushed that Dale Brown court thing through, didn't you? And he's like, was I not supposed to do that? You know what I mean? Like, what I mean, I was kind of getting bullied right when I got off the plane about getting the vote in. You know what I mean? Like, was I not supposed to do that? And, people from Sue Gunner's side, I mean, Mary Werner's on the board of directors that carries a big weight, and the governor is pushing equality. I mean, that's one of his political pillars.
Yeah.
And this is a great sign of equality
Which
to him.
I totally get behind.
Right.
But still, do it a year ago.
And after the vote was made, he picked up the phone and called the president and said, I'm for equality. Goodbye.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
That's really all you have to say.
How do you like your job? Because I'm for equality.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think it's Louisiana politics at its finest.
At its finest.
At its finest,
Yeah,
man.
it
I mean, it is
not worried about the right shit, just worried about
absolutely
all the
not.
wrong
There's
things.
the right thing gets clouded.
Yeah. It's like whatever.
It's a lost cause.
Like,
it's not.
we don't.
Right. I mean,
people are killing people on
forget
Government
that.
Street.
Right.
Fuck that. That's whatever.
Maybe Richard Nelson will come in and save the day.
Hopefully.
We'll see, man. All right, we're going to talk to Big Ben next. We will talk to Ben McDonald about this LSU baseball team. We'll get his thoughts on that. I know he's very passionate on this matter as well. And we will talk to him about the hype on this LSU baseball squad. Coach Jay Johnson not running from it. What does that mean? We'll talk to Big Ben next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacey,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team. Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. One of our favorites. Always good to link up with our friend to break down some college baseball. This LSU team is going to be fun to talk about all season, at least going into the year. 4 preseason All-Americans, number 1 in all of the major polls, and got some star power to them as well, as we'll be breaking down LSU baseball. But our friend's back with us here to talk about it. Big Ben McDonald, of course, you see him on ESPN. He's also a part of the Orioles network up there breaking down Major League Baseball, but the best when it comes to college baseball and breaking it down. Good to see you, Big Ben. How are you, man? What a background.
Man, I'm doing good. How you guys doing? Everything okay? Yeah, it's baseball season. You know, it's just around the corner. I'm excited about it. I think there's a buzz, as you guys know, in Baton Rouge again this year because of the team and the star power that is here. And, of course, preseason number 1, and I think there's 8 different polls out right now, and LSU consensus, you know, number 1 in every poll that's out. So going to be an exciting year for sure.
What do you think about that from just a pressure standpoint in Jay Johnson's seat? How do you go about handling that? What's the day-to-day that he takes in?
Well, I think when Jay took the job at LSU, he realized what he was in for. And not many people knew about Jay Johnson because he was a West Coast guy. We had actually talked to him and interviewed him over the years out in Omaha when he was coaching and the head coach of Arizona. And so I knew a little bit about him. And the word on the street about Jay Johnson at the time was you're not going to out-recruit him. You're not going to outwork him. Like that, he's married to the game of baseball. Well, it didn't take him long to come in here and bring in the number 1 recruiting class in the country in just his second year. And, of course, the number 1 transfer class. So I think Jay knows what he's up for, but that's why he came to LSU. And in his own words, he said, I came to bring LSU back to what it was some years ago. That's the whole reason. And he said, this LSU job is the only job in the entire country that I would have left Arizona for. And so he's up for the challenge. I think the kids are up for the challenge. There's always pressure to win at LSU. And, of course, when you're number 1 team in the country, there's going to be more pressure. But, you know, if I had a message for the kids, I would tell them, you know, it's not your burden to carry 6 national championships. Yeah. That's not your burden for this current team. Your burden for this current team is all the guys that came before you. So the blood, the sweat, the tears that went into this point to where LSU baseball is, that is your burden to carry, to go out there and perform well, try hard every day, and work your tails off. Because before there were the national championships and all that, was a bunch of guys that really loved each other. And so that's kind of my message for the team this year is go out, have fun, let your talent take over, but don't waste 1 second, 1 moment of every day.
Ben, you were one of the first superstars to come through the program. You've seen them all. You've seen all the guys that have come through here since you. Has there ever been anybody similar to Paul Skeens? Is there a comp to him? And what do you expect from him going into this season?
No, not a two-way player, no. I mean, he was a John Olerud Award winner last year in college baseball. That's the number 1 two-way player in the country. I can't remember anybody that was a two-way player at the level that he's at now. He apparently is going to be a guy that's going to pitch on Friday nights. He's apparently going to be the number one guy in the rotation for right now for LSU. And, of course, what he does at the plate is a difference maker, too. Now, I don't know if he's going to play first, if he's going to DH occasionally. The good news for Jay Johnson is he's pretty deep in that lineup. He's got a lot of options out there, too. But Paul Skeens is probably going to be your DH, especially from the right side. So we'll see how that shakes out. But he's an uber-talented guy. And, look, you combine that with Dylan Cruz, who very well could be the number one pick in the country, Trey Morgan, some others you got going back. Thatcher Hurd, the transfer from UCLA, the pitcher is outstanding. How about Tommy Tanks? Tommy Tanks just looks like a dude that goes out and drinks a beer and plays softball on the weekend, slow pitch softball. But he hit 27 jacks last year, a freshman record. And so, that dude's going to be fun to watch, too. So the one thing I would warn, and the one thing that I'm really going to watch this year, I'm not too concerned about the offense. They're going to score runs. I think they're going to pitch it really well. Wes Johnson, new pitching coach, is outstanding. Nobody better than him. I'm still concerned about the defense. I mean, you go back and look at last year, LSU had the worst defense fielding percentage-wise in all of the SEC. I hear Jordan Thompson, who will play shortstop, is much better this year. I want to see how Tommy White handles third base. Can he be an average defensive third baseman? So I think the jury's still out on the defense. The defense has to improve for LSU this year.
Not only did he upgrade the roster and go out and make replacements there, he did it on the coaching staff. You mentioned Wes Johnson. How impressed were you with the replacements that he had to make on a couple of guys that were picked up and now Division I head coaches?
Yeah, I mean, the Wes Johnson thing just blew my mind. I was actually doing an Oriole game in Minnesota in the middle of the summer this past year when all of a sudden we got wire came across that Wes Johnson, the pitching coach for the Minnesota Twins at the big league level, is leaving to go to LSU, not after the season. He's leaving in the middle of the season when the Minnesota Twins are in first place in the American League Central Division. I went, wow, that's a hire right there. And so I knew Wes way back when Wes was at Mississippi State. Then he went to Arkansas. And, of course, he made the jump straight from the Arkansas pitching coach straight to the big league level. Wes is one of these guys that is very good, old school from a mechanical standpoint, but he understands the new school of the metrics and the numbers and all the data that we have out there and can explain to kids the best way to get the most out of the stuff they have, the new analytical data that's out there. So in a lot of ways, he's the best of both worlds. Coach Jordan is the other guy that came in from Duke. He was the recruiting coordinator at Duke. I mean, if you can win and you can recruit top talent at Duke, which is not exactly a baseball school, you can do it at LSU. And so I think I think Coach Johnson hit a home run with both of his hires this year. I think both of these guys. And look, the proof's in the pudding with the number one recruiting class in the country and number one transfer class as well.
What's the potential on this offense? I mean, you just mentioned some of these guys. I mean, how good could it be?
Look, I don't want to get too excited, but on paper, it could be the best offense in the country. I mean, I'm serious when I say that. I mean, Trey Morgan, I'm expecting a big year out of Trey Morgan. A lot of people don't know this, but Trey Morgan played hurt last year. Like, his knee was jacked up the entire year last year. We didn't see the real Trey Morgan last year. But you couple that, I mean, you talk about a lineup that's going to run out Dylan Cruz, Trey Morgan, Paul Skeens,
Josh Pearson,
and, of course, Tommy Tanks and others. Look, it has a chance to be special, and so we'll see how it shakes down. I think the pitching's going to take a big jump. But I would warn people, and I tell people this all the time, Tennessee last year was the best college baseball team I had seen in a long time. And this is kind of what separates baseball from other sports. Like, we all knew, I don't even really follow college football, but I knew Georgia was the best team in the country after the first game of the year this year. We knew going in, Georgia won the national championship, right? And we kind of know with other sports, the Kansas City Chiefs were probably going to be there. I don't have to be an expert, and they're there this year playing in the Super Bowl. But baseball is different, and I think the proof of that is Ole Miss last year. Ole Miss was the 64th team in the field last year, and yet they go on to win the national championship. That couldn't happen in any other sport where the 64th best team won the national championship. It does in baseball. And so while Tennessee was the best team I'd seen in maybe the best team ever in a long, long time since I've been commentating, they don't even get to Omaha. So that's how difficult it is. So it's going to be interesting. It's a grind. As you guys know, I think 4 of the top 5 teams in the country are SEC teams. I think 7 of the top 9 are SEC teams. So it's a gauntlet for LSU to navigate through this year.
Yeah, I was going to ask you around the conference. When you look around, it's littered with top 10 teams. Who jumps out to you? Your good friend Mike Bianco finally got his ring last season. Of course, Mississippi State the year before that. Who else are you looking at around the league?
Well, I think you start with Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee lost a lot from an offensive standpoint, but they do have the best rotation in the entire country. Dolander, their Friday night guy, could very well be the first pick in the country. A lot of people think it's going to be him or Dylan Cruz that goes number one. Overall, they got Byrne and Beam as well, who all three were in their rotation. So they get their entire rotation back from last year, as well as some of their starting lineup as well. So I think you got to put them right towards the top. Arkansas is always strong. Ole Miss lost some dudes, some big pieces, but they also kind of restocked in a lot of ways. They're a top 10 team too. So, if you look at the West, I think it's going to be LSU and Ole Miss. I think Auburn will be pretty good. I don't think Mississippi State is going to quite bounce back, although they had an off year last year. I don't think they're going to be a contender this year on paper. We shall see. In the Eastern Division over there, I think it's Tennessee and Florida. Florida's always very good. They had some key injuries last year. Those guys are healthy. So I think it's going to be Tennessee and Florida. And don't forget about Vanderbilt, too. Vanderbilt seems to always be there in the East as well. So I think those are kind of your top 5 teams right now.
Ben, I know that there is a topic out there that you're very passionate about. Right now, it feels like business is being conducted a lot like when you were on campus in the 80s with this saga over Dale Brown Court, which looks like it's going back up for vote here in the February Board of Supervisors. I've seen you on social media, and I know you've been very passionate about this. Where do you sit in this just about another week out from voting?
Well, I mean, I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. I mean, I don't think anybody knew. I mean, just a year ago, the board voted 12-3 to name the court the Dale Brown Court. And for Dale's name to be the only name on the court, it went over at 12-3. And so I guess my biggest question is, what's changed in a year? Mm-hmm. Like, what's changed? Why are we backing up here and trying to take something back? I don't understand that. Now, I recently found out they're talking about naming or trying to put Sue Gunner's name on the court along with Dale Brown. Maybe that's what this is about, is what it appears. And listen, I am 100% in favor of Sue Gunner. She was coaching at LSU when I was there. Wonderful lady. Did some magical things at LSU. But I just think there are ways that we can honor Sue Gunner without dishonoring Dale Brown. And so I wish I could sit down with the governor and have a chat with him. And that's kind of the weird thing about all this. Apparently, I was listening to Jeff Marks on another radio show yesterday, and he brought a lot of this to light. But apparently, the governor's involved in this, and there was a meeting at the governor's mansion with only select few board members, is what we're hearing. And so that's kind of strange to me, and it just seems like just a year after you honor Dale Brown, an 86-year-old man who is deserving of this. And look, I played for Dale, obviously. Dale Brown did more for Louisiana and basketball in Louisiana than anybody in history. I mean, I can remember Dale Brown changed the culture about basketball in Louisiana. He was a humanitarian. He is a humanitarian. And you talk about the things that he did. Kylis Temple was the first black player ever to play at LSU. Dale fought the NCAA, as you know, every day for players and players' rights. I mean, this dude changed basketball, not only in the state of Louisiana, but across the country with the NCAA. So I don't know. It just feels kind of sneaky to me. I don't understand how it can be 12-3 12 months ago, and now we're talking about voting again. Like I just want somebody to tell me what changed. What changed in all this, Yeah.
It does seem like the highest power in the political seats is getting involved in something that just, I don't know, it feels like it doesn't deserve his attention. Ben, thank you as always. We're looking forward to talking LSU baseball with you throughout the season. They're going to be fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, always great to be on, and I'm looking forward to it as well, and go Tigers.
You got it. There he is. Big Ben, former All-American, former LSU great, as he dials in this morning and talks a little bit about LSU baseball and what's coming down here, as we've talked over the last couple of weeks with Dale Brown and Sue Gunner Court. Remember to follow Ben McDonald on Twitter at @RealBenMcDonald. Daily, we're brought to you by RMB Builders. RMB Builders is on Instagram. Make sure and follow them there. They got great social media keeping up with all of the projects that they have moving. RMB Builders, you can search them there on social to find out whether you're in the market for a reconstruction, you need new construction, you want to start from scratch. You can get in touch with RMB Builders, and they can help you out. Rhett Bourgeois and his crew over at RMB Builders. We will talk a little bit more about this from the political level as Richard Nelson, a young gubernatorial candidate, will be through the studio here
Brian Burgess
in a couple of minutes.
That was correct to say. Gubernatorial candidate.
That's right. We did talk a little bit. Whoa, bro! What happened to the document?
Oh dang! I didn't think we were using it anymore. What are you looking for?
Did you just like delete everything?
Already made it for next week. What are you looking for?
Lord.
What are you looking for?
I mean, today's show.
There wasn't anything else in it. We talked about it.
God. I was gonna eat that.
Yeah,
I wasn't done.
It's like a half-drink glass of water
Good
that I picked up
Lord.
and washed the cup already.
Anybody seen the rest of my sandwich?
What were you looking for in there? Because there wasn't anything else.
Just to fall back on a little information.
Okay, I have something I want to ask about.
Okay.
For real, I don't know if y'all talked about this when I wasn't here, like when I was in carpool or something, but what's the deal with the arrest warrant for Joe Mixon?
Oh, he pointed a gun at a woman.
Why?
I don't know. Joe Mixon is
he's got a little past.
Yeah. Does he?
Yes.
Well, what are you
almost
thinking,
didn't make
though,
it,
doing that? Why are you pointing a gun?
I mean, he almost didn't even make it to college. Or he almost didn't make it in college.
He's such a baller.
He is.
Yeah,
that's why he made it.
What's the deal? Like, why would he? I read that he said you should be popped in the face.
Yeah.
To the woman. Why?
Katie.
We don't know.
Look, do me a favor and look up Joe Mixon on
there's
YouTube.
Bad.
There's more. It's stuff I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but the situation, I really don't know what happened, but yeah, it gets worse.
He didn't want it out there for sure.
Yeah.
He's in the club doing it.
Tough for him. Man wants to be in the Super Bowl.
I know.
He's not.
And a day before the Bills game, like, why would you do that?
Oh God. Oh, he's living that.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Aaron Hernandez
playmaker's life.
Yeah.
That's so wild to me. I just don't understand that. I was surprised by that. I didn't know if y'all touched on that.
Pro athletes.
Yeah. I mean, come on now.
All right, we'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show. Richard Nelson's going to be through here. We got Nathan Velasquez coming up here at 8:30 this morning, as we'll talk more about a little bit of Hollywood with Nathan, as he'll stop by. They're here? Mm-hmm. So we'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier, Kyron Lacey, Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team. Make a difference. Bet. Let's get it done.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Appreciate Ben McDonald for stopping by for a little preview of the LSU baseball team. Tigers preseason #1 in every single poll you look at. Only team with 4 preseason All-Americans. Absolutely stacked roster. So appreciate Big Ben for stopping in and giving us a little chat on LSU baseball. Looking forward to our next conversation with State Representative Richard Nelson, who is out of Mandeville and has also thrown his name into the gubernatorial race for this upcoming political season. And he's got an interesting story. I was talking to him beforehand and said that for his political life, he is young, but he's young on paper as well. Welcome in to the studio. Thanks for being here this morning, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the decision like to get into the race and run for governor?
Well, I mean, it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. I think, I've been in the legislature for almost 4 years now, and you kind of see how it works. It's enough time to figure out how it works and realize that if you want to get anything done, you really got to be the governor. That's the light. That's just how it is. Huey Long set it up that way in the 1930s, and it's been that way ever since. And I think also is, the time I've been in the legislature has been enough to realize what the real challenges are here, what the real problems are, and, get a good grasp on how to fix them.
Yeah, one of the, I guess one of your peers, one of your coworkers who we've been able to develop a really good relationship has been Representative Stefanski, John Stefanski, who's been up in here. And really the draw to him has been his youth and his energy. What has it been like being in that system as someone who's young, or at least a new face?
Yeah, I mean, I think, being young gives you kind of different perspective than a lot of the people. I mean, the average age in the legislature is probably 60, maybe something like that. So obviously being in your 30s is significantly younger, but I think you just have a different outlook because you're not, it's not a retirement job. You're looking at not just the next couple years, like I said, not the next. I'm not in this just for the next 4 years. I'm in this for the next 40 years. Mm-hmm. Like I want to know what are the next 40 years? What is it going to be for my kids? What's it going to be for my grandkids? Are they going to be able to grow up here and be productive and not have to leave Louisiana for more opportunity, which is unfortunately something we see a lot. And so that was, it just kind of gives you a different perspective, I think. And, you're willing to fight, for me, I'm willing to fight these big battles because I think that it's worth it, especially in the long run, to fix some of these problems that have been around just for a very long time.
Yeah, the problems that politicians run on are the same problems that were plaguing the state when I was a kid. I mean, it seems like the message of politicians have been the same for 25, 30 years. I mentioned to you that I worked 1 year at the state capitol, and I still see the same faces when I go up there.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to create change as a politician in this state?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest impediment is just we kind of have this acceptance in Louisiana that like we're always got to be last. It's kind of always been last, and I think that's what you got to destroy, and that's what I kind of work at every day. Is I want to give people hope that things can really be better. I mean, Louisiana has everything going for it. I mean, we have all the ingredients to be in the top 10, and instead we're always at the bottom. And I think that that's just a kind of a tragedy. But I think that if you can get the public to realize and to demand more, I think we can fix it. Really, it's words on paper that are holding us back, right? Sure. We have these, like I said, this system that Huey Long created that puts a lot of power in Baton Rouge, that makes the governor very powerful and able to, kind of decide where all the money's going to go and who's going to be important. And that's kind of our fundamental issue. And so I think if we can get away from that, if we can accept that we are going to be better and we demand more for politicians, we can change it.
So you supported the first bill to eliminate state income tax, which Tennessee, Florida, and Texas?
Yes.
What's the other state have
our,
already done?
Our neighbors already, yeah.
That would cost the state a lot of money. What would be your plan to offset that?
So if you look at Tennessee, Texas, and Florida, mm-hmm. they all have some different mix of sales and property taxes that make up the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in reality, we raise about the same amount of money as they do. Like, it's not significantly different. But really, it's just where does it come? So we really don't raise very much property taxes. You have a few people that pay a lot or more in property tax. Mm-hmm. About a third of the state pays nothing in property tax at all. And then you also have kind of big business and big corporations that don't really pay. They get a bunch of tax breaks as well. So I think if you look at broadening the base, especially the property tax, eliminating a lot of exemptions in the sales tax too, because we have hundreds of exemptions to the sales tax. Then we'd actually be able to lower the rates. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate. We had the highest sales tax rate in the country, and we have the second is Tennessee, but Tennessee doesn't have an income tax, right? So really, we just have a system where if you can hire a lobbyist, you get a special exemption, and then everybody does that, and so we end up with a bunch of special breaks and exemptions where nobody ends up paying. Everybody thinks they're not paying, but really just drives the rates higher for everyone who does.
Right.
So
you made an effort to legalize recreational marijuana last year too. Is that something you're going to keep pushing for?
Yes,
we do talk a lot a lot in here and with Stefanski.
Oh yeah, you get Stefanski on board. No, it's I think that it's I've never smoked. I was an Eagle Scout. I know I never smoked marijuana. But at the end of the day, you can look at just the economic argument and say it's everywhere anyway. Lots of my colleagues, obviously they're kind of a little older generation, which doesn't mean they've never used it. It just means that they're used to denouncing it. I think
they have.
They have to publicly say that they have not.
They were like, okay, I've seen videos of the '70s when all y'all were there. Anyway, I think that they just kind of have this mindset of like, oh, well, it's bad, which is fine. You say it's bad, but that doesn't matter because that's not the choice that you have. The choice that you have is really, do you want it to be legal and taxed and regulated, or do you just want to fund a black market and sell it on the street? I mean, and that's really what it is.
Right.
So, I tell them the only choice you have is whether you want the money to go to legitimate businesses. Do you want it to be taxed to support your police and your roads and your schools? I was like, or you just want it to go to drug dealers and drug cartels. And I mean, that's your only choice. I mean, that's it. And so I think we've made some progress down the road. I think when I brought the bill in 2021, it was like, people were like, whoa, like you can't do this. Republicans can't support.
You better hide this, dude.
It was crazy. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like 70% of the state supports it.
Right.
I mean, and you can see just in that time period, maybe 5 or 6 more states have legalized it. And none of them have gone back.
Right.
And so there's definitely better ways to do it. And you can see like California has a lot of issues, but a state like Arizona doesn't have a lot of issues. And it's a relatively conservative state. Like, it's run fine. So I think there's better ways to do it. And you can kind of see that now that it's been out there so long. But you're talking about at least $150 million a year. So we're not a super rich state. So $150 million a year in tax revenue.
Grab it.
Could go, it could go a long way up. It's like $750 million just in regular businesses that would benefit from it. So, I think the economics is really what I look at. And I think that it's really strong that that's the way to go versus, obviously arresting people, throwing them in jail and kind of ruining their lives, taking their scholarships away for something that is just not any really worse, not really worse than alcohol or cigarettes or something like that.
Speaking of scholarships, right now there is a debate right now that's happening at the LSU level with the Board of Supervisors that seems like it has touched the governor's office, and it is dealing with the name of the basketball court, right? Dale Brown, Sue Gunner Court. Can you explain the relationship between that office and the state universities? And then, if you could, what are your thoughts on that current topic?
So the governor appoints the Board of Supervisors, right? So, I think a lot of times it's either people connected to the university or people who are big supporters of them. I mean, not just this current governor, but just historically, that's how it works. And so they make the decisions for the university, right? So I think that's the kind of the ongoing process. And, it's inherently political because almost every decision you make, I think, especially when it affects so many people, is going to be political. I don't have super big feelings on the naming of the court and stuff. I try to, stay out of it seems like an unnecessary controversy, if you ask me. I mean, there's Louisiana's got 99 problems, and the name of the basketball court's not one of them.
Exactly.
So, but I think at the end of the day, that's one of the things. The governor has a lot of sway over just how the state operates in general because of these appointees. And so he has something like 3,000 different appointees. And so he has tons of different boards and everything. So it's really a kind of a very soft power on how to influence what goes on. And so, if you don't vote, if you don't do what the governor wants, he can call you and say, hey, we're going to find somebody else. And so he has a lot of influence on all those everyone appointees across, not just LSU Board of Supervisors, but across the state. It's just kind of how it goes. Huey Long set it up that way. Anytime he didn't get what he wanted, he said, we're going to create a board. I'm going to appoint the members of it, and that's how, we're going to fix it. So,
is there any backtracking that? Is there any way of getting out of that type of governing?
I mean, honestly, I think we have a lot of unnecessary boards. I mean, a lot of them are duplicative too, where you have, multiple boards that, in most states would have one board that's centralized, that, covers everything instead of having, 15. But you have to, it would be honestly a true shift in government in Louisiana to say that, the governor's not going to appoint all these boards that are going to do all these jobs that, in most states would either be done probably by the legislature or by some executive department, something like that. So it's not, I would say the board appointees aren't the biggest problem here. I think the tax structure and stuff is one of the bigger ones. But at the same time, it really makes the governor very powerful. So if you got a good governor, you can change everything. If you got one who's either, not good or just ambivalent to what's going on, it's very difficult to change anything.
Okay, crime is another topic we talk about all the time around here. I know it's all over the state, but it's running rampant in Baton Rouge and New Orleans. What changes would you implement as governor around that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is a lot of the structure of government in Louisiana is that local governments can't fund themselves. So, crime is really addressed on a local level. Like, you got to hire police. You got to have, DAs that are able to go out and prosecute. You got to have the ability to catch people and, get them swift and certain justice, I think is really what matters. And most of that's done on the local level. I mean, the governor doesn't control the police department in Baton Rouge or the sheriff in Baton Rouge or in New Orleans. Like, it's not there.
Sure.
At the same time, the governor has the control of state police. And so I've said this before, especially in New Orleans, that if it was a hurricane, right, we would have all kinds of resources going down there to help them, right?
Exactly.
We would have, the National Guard, everybody going down there to help them. And this is honestly something that probably definitely has killed more people than, hurricanes. And it definitely affects everybody's life. Nobody feels safe. It's a terrible thing. And so I think using something like the state police to go down there and say, look, we're going to put a state trooper to patrol all these blocks. Most of the crime happens within a relatively small area.
Right.
It's not like, you got to cover the entire state.
Exactly.
Compared to the whole state, it's a very small area where this crime is really bad. I mean, if you had just a 24-hour police presence there, and mobilize state resources to address it, I mean, obviously, New Orleans and even some extent Baton Rouge can't do it by themselves, right? So I think if it was something like a hurricane, we would say we need the whole state to get on board with fixing this. And I think you could do that as a governor, too, just to mobilize state police to go
Makes so much
help
sense.
them. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a really
you
simple
have all
plan.
these guys, go send them out. And the troopers say, well, look, we have one of the lowest levels of the current troop levels that we've ever had, which is true. And it exists in the police departments as well.
Right now in Louisiana?
Yeah. And so, guess what? You need to really hire more. You need to hire more state police. You need to hire more, local police so that they can go out there and enforce the laws. I mean, we have the laws.
Right.
I mean, obviously, carjacking, breaking and entering, all these things are all murder. It's all illegal.
Sure.
They never get caught. That's the problem. It's very rare that they get caught. And so if you have cops, you have a police presence, I think you can really tap that down. But it's going to take, some kind of surge to go in there and stop it because, it's a cycle. The longer that it goes on, the harder it is to stop.
Sure. Right.
How does this race work? How does the progression of this race work? I mean, are you in it full force? How does this thing kind of ramp up?
Well, I announced last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to win in October. That's basically the plan. No, so I mean, it's kind of kicking off now. So it was kind of convenient for me that I guess everybody else decided not to really announce until, January or, this last month, I guess. Because I'm young. I couldn't have just said I'm going to go spend 2 years, running for office. So I think John Bell ran for 2 years or something. And so I couldn't have done that from a campaign perspective. But I can go for the next 8 or 10 months till we get to October. I think that there's a bunch of forums. Everything's going up. We're traveling around the state, meeting a lot of people, doing a lot of interviews. Obviously trying to raise money. That's one of the biggest challenges, especially for me being young. Raising money is a hard thing because if you haven't been around for 20 years to get a whole bunch of political favors and friends, it's a harder path to slog. But at the end of the day, though, I got a kind of a different message. I got kind of a different brand than everybody else. Somewhat of a crowded field, but they're all kind of in the same boat. I mean, they're all been around for a long time. Not really bringing new ideas to the table. I kind of have a different message. I'm actually trying to solve problems, which helps, I think, and has really resonated with a lot of people. So, we're kind of going around the state. We're trying to spread that message, trying to get out there and get some support. It's been going really well. I mean, honestly, it's funny because, when we kind of put all this plan together, before we actually launched everything, we were like, we don't know how this is going to go. Like, people might just laugh and be like, oh, well, you're never going to do anything in Louisiana. Like, you're a kid. Like, get out of here. And honestly, it's gone really well. Yeah. A lot of the interviews, it's funny. Like, a lot of the interviews that I've done them all over the state. And generally, they may have heard about me a little bit because, the income tax, or, I did a lot on elementary literacy that they may have heard about or read about. But so, and the initial interviewer will be very skeptical and be like, oh, I don't think this guy can do anything. And then by the end, they're like, honestly, I think he's got a pretty good grasp on stuff.
Right.
So, and I mean, I've spent years, not just in the time I've been in the legislature, but I've spent years looking at these problems to figure out what to do. And I've brought the bills in the legislature to actually try and implement this. So it's not a case of, hey, these guys, no one ever says what they're going to do. No one ever has a plan once they win, which is generally true. Like, I've tried to pass in the legislature. You really have to be the governor to get any kind of big changes done, and that's just the game. So as governor, things will never be the same. The question for me is not whether, nothing will get done. It's whether or not he can win. Yeah. If he wins, the whole world changes, right. And that's the reality. And I think, obviously, electing a 36-year-old as governor that is a first-term state rep, you kind of see that, right? Like, it's obviously a long shot, but if it pays off, like, things will never be the same.
No doubt about it. I don't mean this in any defamatory way, but at what point does your name become Dick Nelson in politics? Because it is a Hollywood casting.
I told you we were talking about you earlier.
Yeah. Like, that is. No, that's is it an age?
That's what they called me in law school. Yeah, no, so I got different. Depending on where you knew me from. So in law school, they were like, "Oh, Dick Nelson." So,
right. I just see it on the sign. I see it on the T-shirt.
No, Ricky Nelson is also pretty popular with the the older generations. Okay. So I'm knocking on everybody's door, and they're like, Ricky Nelson. I'm like, yeah. Why not? There's a couple, depending on your generation, there's a couple different iterations we can go with.
Right. Well, best of luck on this, man, and thank you for taking this fight on. I can tell you, as a proud citizen of the state of Louisiana, I hope we can get out of the mud, because I know the resources and the fine things that you talk about that we can offer, and I think it does take you. I think it takes young blood, fresh face to get it done. So good for you for taking on the fight, man.
No, I appreciate it. And yeah, obviously, revolutions aren't started by, they're all started by the young. So, sure. We have a lot, because we have the most in the game, to be honest with you. 40 more years at least, So sure. At the end of the day, that's really how you're going to get things done is, pushing these big changes. And, that's what I'm working for.
How can people find out what's going on the trail?
So Nelson for LA is my website, www.nelsonforla.com. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. So you can kind of route to it any way you want to, but it's all there.
Who came up with your ad with the dinosaurs?
I did.
I have to ask. It's amazing.
Yeah, I did. No, obviously you're there for 4 years. You kind of get the experience. So, yeah. I was sitting in a hotel room and I was like, what would be a really good idea?
It was great because it tells a story.
So funny.
And if you've never been up there, that's kind of what it is. And I've been in those halls, and it feels very Jurassic Parkish. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just of.
Yeah, it's not at any individual, but it's just kind of the mentality of the institution is that, this is how we've always done it. We're going to keep doing it this way, and just kind of nibble around the edges, which is not going to fix any of our problems. I've said if Louisiana was just average, we'd all live 4 years longer and get a 33% raise. So, that's a huge amount. Imagine 4 years of your life and a third of your income. You're not going to fix that by nibbling around the edges. You need to do something different.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by this morning, man.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Richard Nelson, a 2023 gubernatorial candidate here in the state of Louisiana. Read more, get more information, nelsonforla.com. We'll be back with more of the show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us.
Get it done. question in that game. You're listening to the Jordy Culotta Show live on YouTube. Catch it every day, 7 to 9 a.m., wherever you have internet access.
Oh, my guy, the host of Mac and Cube.
You said you wanted me to close it out.
I listen to his pod every day on WJOX 94. I thought I was going to beat Charlie. I didn't. You were fantastic as always. Have a great call in Missouri. I'll see you soon, man.
Thanks, man. Good
Later.
talking to you, Jordy.
Always. There he is. Cole Kubelik, the absolute best. Don't overthink it, ABC. When you move to a primetime slot and the SEC is getting that billing, make this man the color commentator. He's the absolute best.
Ooh, I mean, what a pro.
What a pro.
I remember telling them, hey, listen, my job here is to make sure that we bring, big time football to a small town environment, right? And so you see on movies sometimes about the way a town reacts to the football program and what it means to everybody. And that was the hopes and dreams that I had for the place. And so our kids take a distinct responsibility in wearing that Z on their helmet. It means a lot to them. And then on the flip side of that, our community does a tremendous job of supporting our program, supporting the athletic department, supporting our school as a whole. And there's really a great relationship there that's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Thank you for the access, man. Looking forward to tonight. We'll talk soon.
Coach, wait, before you go, fix your hair again one more time.
Look at him.
Let's go
Yes.
here.
Look at him.
What do you think about that?
Game day,
What do you
baby.
think about that?
Game day. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it, man. Great to see you. Thank you.
You too, guys. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.
All right, man. There he is. There he is. My guy. David Brewerton checking in. What does Harold Perkins do for this defense? What does he allow you guys to do?
Yeah, Perk, man, he's just so raw, man. Like, all he know how to do is make a play. But I love him. He brings a certain type of juice to the defense, and he's right alongside of me on the edge. He knows how to rush the edge. As a young guy, that's very valuable to the defense, being able to rush the edge. Making the quarterback step up. But yeah, they put him everywhere. Middle linebacker, outside rusher. Maybe sometimes he's gonna be in a drop. So he's very versatile for our defense.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey, Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
I ended up at a lunch yesterday with 3 suits from WAFB.
In the J's?
In the J's, in the hat, in the T-shirt. I thought I was going to meet 1 suit, and we actually showed up to the same restaurant that 2 other suits were eating at. We all conjoined table and had an executive lunch with everybody from WAFB. A lot of good return on the show early on. A lot of good feedback. They think we ought to start fining for cursing in the first hour.
Fining who?
Fining for whoever does it.
Like fining each other?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have a swear jar?
A swear jar.
Okay.
Tough.
7 a.m. between the 7 and 8 a.m. hour.
It's Lloyd that would
That's
have
exactly
the
what they
problem.
said.
So
That's exactly what they said. The suit said. He said, Lloyd pushes the envelope on the cussing thing we've talked about. Like, hey, how's the show? We're all kind of like passing the bread, you know what I mean? Like early, like I'm just trying to like fit in at this table. They're like, oh yeah, the show's good. What's the guy in on the couch? What's Lloyd? Is it Lloyd? Yeah, Lloyd. What about him? He sure does push the line on the cussing thing, doesn't he? Which, by the way, there's no rules to our contract at WAFB that states that like we can't cuss at a certain time, or we've got to change the show at any point. There's been no discussions of changing anything that we do from WAFB. That's the nucleus of LSU's team has to be from Louisiana. You can look up every championship run, and the nucleus of all of those squads have been from the state. You've always had outside influences, whether it's been Brandon LaFell or Joe Burrow. You know what I mean? Like, pick the one that you wanna bring in. But there's always been that one big time player. I think that the weekend that LSU had this past weekend, where they brought in like Ashton Stamps from Rummel, who's a DB from New Orleans, 3-star guy, but you've seen his recruitment really start to pick up. But then when you look at what they did outside of the area, and look, I'm big on guarding the state. Get Louisiana first, and then build your class outside of that. But if you can go into other states and you can take, states' best players, like LSU did over the weekend. Jackson Howard's the number 1 player in Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't have any football. I get it. That they don't have the traditional football, players, high school programs that Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia do. But if you can go in and take somebody's number 1 player, who was it? Tayshawn Bowers a few years ago, the big stand-up defensive end who was out of New Jersey. Mm-hmm. He was the number 1 player out of New Jersey. That recruiting cycle came down here. Took him a while. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To catch on, but by his senior season, he was a problem coming off the edge. I mean, you look at this guy, Jackson Howard from Minnesota, right? Like, I mean, he looks like an SEC football player. His physique, his style, the way he plays. You look at a guy like Joshua Mickens. Mickens is the number 1 player in the state of Indiana. All right, like Indiana football. You don't think of football when you think Indiana. You think basketball, right? But, I mean, you go in there and you take the top player who's a rush defensive end. When you watch the film, man, that guy looks like a SEC caliber type recruit, prospect. And LSU's able to get number 1 player in Minnesota, number 1 player in Indiana. Deshaun Walmack, who we spoke to yesterday, a highly rated player in the state of Maryland. Deron Reed, who's a top flight player in the state of Georgia. I get going out and getting these elite players from around the country, and I think LSU has the brand to shop it nationally. All right, welcome back to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live here on this Friday morning. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. Appreciate Richard Nelson for stopping by here.
Dick.
NelsonForLA.com. It's an age thing, right? When you go to Dick Nelson?
It has to be, right? Well, he said his law school buddies called him Dick. So.
Yeah, but you got to go to Dick. Like,
it's either like a really funny young thing or like a much older thing.
If he wins the governor, he's definitely becoming Dick Nelson very soon.
I'm having so many T-shirt ideas. Like, I feel like I need to run by him.
No
like,
doubt.
would you be cool with that?
Depends on what we're talking about putting on this T-shirt.
FM Digital Media supports Dick Nelson
Wow.
for governor. Supports
F-em,
Dick
Dick.
for governor. That's amazing. Poor
That
guy.
would be
We were
great.
good to him.
Yeah, he was good to us.
We were good
You
to
know,
him.
Good Dick.
Wants to
Okay,
legalize weed.
I want to bring up Derek Carr.
Recreational.
because Oh, we still want to talk about dick first?
No, but I mean,
the recreational weed is.
Well, I mean, that's where the money
Can't get
is.
enough dick.
Just like he said. I mean,
give me more.
That's where the money is, right?
I mean, $150 million. I mean, he's right too, in the sense of you're either going to pay the state or pay the drug dealers. Where do you want it to go? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's so true.
What do you want to
So
do
much
here?
so.
Do you want to beef up the black market? Do you want to beef up roads and fight against crime? You know, what I mean,
schools. You know, we got a better schools.
And I didn't ask him about infrastructure, but that is one thing that I read about that is like super important to him is infrastructure.
Yes.
Which we desperately need.
I mean, like
But
Louisiana
we
can
need tax
use
dollars.
all of that.
Yes,
all
we
of
do.
that.
So how does he protect the taxpayer by funding roads and bridges? Well, there you go.
I mean, that's just one
Drugs.
too, and that's a low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Let's
I mean,
do
like
it.
that is like $150 million sitting right there. I mean,
It's
who the hell are
happening.
we? He said $750 million in businesses alone would pop up. I mean, where in the hell do we think we are to turn that down?
I know. It's slowly coming. I mean, InRegister ran an ad for Capital Wellness, and that's the first time I've seen that in a publication like that this month. And I turned to it, and I was like, oh, here it is.
Guess we'll take that.
Right
like,
here.
like
A one-page ad.
a periodical?
InRegister magazine.
Well, sure, they've got to take anything at this point. They're
But
dead.
I mean, that's
like,
kind of a big deal.
Print media is
I mean,
dying. You
But
know.
that's a snobbier publication.
at some point, they'll be
That's-
pimping escort services in there.
They will not.
I mean,
They will not.
they'll take anybody's money at this
Call
point.
Jessica at 225.
Jeff
Right.
McKinnon said women love dick.
How do you like your weed?
Women for dick. You know how they have women for whatever candidate?
Oh, women for dick. That would be great.
I love that. Okay, I do want to talk about Derek Carr because y'all came down hard on me yesterday when I mentioned that he should join the Saints. He won the precision passing contest at the Pro Bowl games. So
Katie, my kid could have won that.
somebody asked him though at the competition if he'd ever been that good with the Raiders, and he said, "Not that hot. That's probably why I'm going somewhere else."
He's got a great personality. He's going to be
He
great on
does.
TV. His brother's great on TV.
Yeah.
You think he's going to TV?
No, he'll probably be in the league somewhere. But
They
I
have
mean,
to trade or release
wherever
him by the
he
15th.
is, Katie, is going to be the same thing that's happening to Las Vegas.
Was that like a doorbell?
I don't know what that was.
Did y'all hear that?
It might have hit my foot on this
I was like, did we install a doorbell? It's like Mr. Rogers. Yeah, you're right, Jordy. I mean, I'm not dismissing him as quickly as y'all are, right?
Well, I mean, look, I'm not dismissing him. I mean, wherever he goes, he'll be serviceable. But I mean,
you don't think he'll go to the Saints?
you're not going to win with Derek Carr. I mean, you're not going to win anything of value, anything of meaning.
You
You're
don't
not going
think
to.
even with a different team, with different support, he could be different?
You're
better?
essentially really getting Andy Dalton.
I mean,
Like they're kind
he
of
just
the same
had the
guy.
best, one of the best wide receivers in the league. He had tools, he had weapons all around him. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. I'm not a believer in Derek. Derek Carr to me is Andy Dalton.
Yep.
I mean,
With a little bit of better. Like,
Andy Dalton
support.
is Derek Carr. You know, I mean, you win one or two more games with maybe Carr, but I mean, at the end of the day, what's that mean? You know, the Saints are in a rebuild,
Yeah.
like an absolute like blow it up reconstruction,
Like
in
the
my
LSU
opinion.
basketball team was.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not that severe. Maybe not that severe because they got guys like Olave. You know, I mean, they got some young guys on the roster that they can build around. Ramczyk. You know, Trevor Penning was a guy that I think before he got hurt last year was showing some signs that he's going to be a bright spot in the future. I mean, Kamara is still a piece, but I would think that Kamara at this point in his career becomes an expendable piece, something that you can get capital back for, something that you can get resources back for. I mean, rather than running Kamara into a brick wall of defenses for the next 3 to 4 years of his career, give him a shot to go catch on with a contender, go win a Super Bowl or two, and get some picks back for him. That's how you're going to get better, right? Like, I love Alvin Kamara. I mean, like, I love the dude. I think that he's one of the best Saints ever. He looks so good in the uniform, and once he fills it out, he is a absolute dog. But, I mean, at this point where the Saints are and where he is, you know,
Moving in
you're
two
kind of
different
going
directions.
two different directions, right? I mean, Kamara's kind of starting to enter another phase of his career. You know, not the end, but, you know, for a running back standards, there's
Back
not a
half.
lot of time left, you know, to be as good as he is. So, I mean, somebody wants that. You know, somebody that's close wants that. Buffalo, is a close team, gets knocked out in the divisional round. They're close. Dallas is close, right? I mean, or they feel like they're close. I mean, some teams that are right there that need just a little bit to get over the hump might be Kamara away from a championship, and in return will send you, a first, a couple of draft picks, and some players, some young players that you can build around. That's just where the Saints are, in my opinion.
But weren't people excited about Andy Dalton?
Yeah, for what?
Like, super excited.
For what? To
I
win
don't know
what?
why.
I mean, like, what has Andy Dalton done in his career that makes you believe he's going to get you to? I'm talking about winning championships.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there are some franchises that are satisfied with Andy Dalton. You know what I mean? That will be satisfied with Derek Carr. And maybe in where the Saints are, as far as trying to rebuild, maybe it is people like Derek Carr and Andy Dalton that you need just to kind of patch it up.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, they're not winning a championship.
No.
I mean, they're rebuilding. They have a new coach. Like, that wasn't going to happen.
They have time. And they have pieces to get there. But Andy Dalton is not the way. Let's not go down that road.
Right.
Or Derek Carr.
Well, you never know.
I'm just in the Justin Fields or Lamar Jackson boat for the Saints.
Well, I mean, like that puts you into a different conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That puts you into you're not rebuilding. You know, you're not doing it through the draft, through free agent. You know what I mean? You're saying to your franchise, like, let's go. Like, gear up. Let's start making moves to start winning now.
Yeah. Like,
right?
I'll get rid of Mike Thomas. I'll get rid of Alvin Kamara.
Absolutely. To me, I think Thomas is gone.
Yeah. Lattimore.
He's way too much money. It costs way too much. And if anybody gets Mike Thomas back to the Thomas that he was 4 years ago, good for you. At this point, I think he's a lost cause in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think he's just emotionally, and I guess it looks like physically, he's just spent.
Yeah,
and if he can revive his career somewhere else, good on you.
I'm just trying to be positive, as usual. Right? Why not? Let's be positive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being positive. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative. I mean, I'm just trying to be realistic.
Jeff and Kenner, I understand. I see your yards thing for Devontae Adams this year, but Derek Carr also threw 26 touchdowns and 14 interceptions and only completed 60% of his passes. In the discussion. So
I'm still not giving up on old
in
Derek Carr.
his 10th season in the NFL. He's a veteran. He should be way better than he is.
What is he like? He's 30, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Carr?
Yeah. They came out in 2015.
He's got plenty of time.
Or probably before that, I think.
Who knows what a new, fresh environment could do for him?
I'm out. I'm out on the Derek Carr. He wears eyeliner. I'm out.
Nathan Velasquez talking Hollywood next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacey,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team. Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live here on this Friday. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind, as we will talk to Nathan Velasquez just like we do every single Friday here, back home in New York City. After being back down south last week, it was good to see Nate in studio. Nate, good morning. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. How's it going down there? That was cool. The gubernatorial candidate, that guy seemed pretty cool.
Huh? Young. Dick. That's what Louisiana needs.
A young guy, or
yes,
yeah,
or what?
Or Dick.
That's what I didn't know which way you were going with that, but yeah, I think that I love the weed stuff. I forgot whenever I was down there that it's not a thing. I just kind of assumed, because no one talks about it here. I think they changed that law a while ago up here. That no one talks about it. I kind of just assumed it's everywhere. But
I'd imagine
it's slowly making its way.
I'd imagine at this point, New Yorkers are just smoking joints walking down the street.
Pretty much.
Are you, Nate?
I wouldn't possibly know. This is going live in in Louisiana. I couldn't possibly say. I think they actually just opened up their first recreational shop in Manhattan. I think that opened up in like December or something.
God, is the line like around the block?
Sheesh.
I think it was.
It was pretty busy. From what I heard, it was pretty busy.
Was it cookies?
I think they were selling everything. I think before that they had
the brand, like the marijuana company, cookies.
I honestly couldn't say. I don't know. I'm not sure what the company is.
I keep up with we got no comment. I'd like to pass on these questions.
Hey, I might still go down to Louisiana at some point in life and run for governor. I got to be careful what I say on these public broadcasts.
What's going on with Showtime and Paramount Plus? Are they now merging? Did I read this right?
Yeah, Showtime and Paramount are now going to merge their streaming services to create something totally new. Paramount Plus is going to go away. Showtime is going to go away. Showtime never really had anything like big to draw people. Like I liked Twin Peaks. That was like 2017. So, I mean, even for me, I'm kind of out of the loop on what Showtime is doing right now that is so exciting. At least it can compete with Disney, HBO, Netflix. I mean, but Paramount has, and we were talking about it last week, Yellowstone, which it seemed like not everyone on the show was a big fan of it. I haven't really even finished the first season, so I can't speak to the entirety of the show. But that show does numbers. That's the only show right now that gives the NFL a run for its money in terms of like one NFL game. Yellowstone is pretty close to kind of catching the baseline of what the NFL pulls for one game, which is a big deal for a show.
Sure.
But Paramount announcing then that, even that isn't really enough for them to keep Paramount, to keep Showtime going is pretty surprising. And I think the last year has kind of shown that Netflix is actually doing very well. Disney's doing very well. HBO is doing very well. Amazon Prime, like their video subscription is not doing great, but also for them, like they don't need it to do very well. They're Amazon. It's just kind of like a sandbox for them to have their own streaming service. Everyone else, though, is really struggling to catch up. It is almost impossible to turn a profit with a streaming service. And I think most other studios are starting to realize the only thing that they're going to be able to do to make a streaming service work is you're going to have to consolidate everything and just kind of put everything on there that you have. Don't kind of get mixed up in, spider webbing out and kind of having a bunch of different streaming services because no one's going to pay for all of them. I think Netflix and HBO and Disney might be the only ones that people are comfortable paying on a regular basis. But they're not going to pay for. They'll pay for Paramount maybe whenever their shows come out. But it's hard to make it work. It's very difficult to make a streaming service work. Paramount had Top Gun recently, and they made a big deal about it. Going on Paramount Plus, get Paramount Plus to watch Top Gun, and it didn't really do anything. Top Gun works best in a theater environment. People are probably not going to pay $15 to get a subscription to Paramount Plus for Yellowstone and Top Gun. It's tough to make it work, but we'll see what happens. I feel like eventually we're probably just going to bundle it all and it's going to be cable again. Cable will be back, but it'll be streaming services. I mean, Disney's doing it right now with what you can get Hulu, ESPN, and Disney for like, I forget how much.
That's such a cut.
Spotify kind of does that. You can get Spotify Premium, and then you can also get Hulu along with it. Like you see these bundles that are happening right now, and seeing all of these streaming services kind of go down the tube. I feel like eventually someone's going to come by with a big old check and be like, what if we just pay all of you? We'll take care of the Paramount Pluses. We'll take care of the NBCs. We'll take care of the Peacocks. And again, I don't know why they named it. That's just such a terrible name for a streaming service. But wrap that all together for like $70 a month, and then you get everything. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if in like 5 years, that's where we are.
That makes sense.
What's going on with M. Night Shyamalan? Are they getting good reviews? He's finally getting good reviews, right?
Yeah, he's got this new movie that's coming out. February actually looks like a pretty good month for movies, for kind of like big, fun, silly movies. So Knock at the Cabin is the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, and it is getting very good reviews. It's like a family is in the woods in their cabin, and then a group of strangers comes up, just kind of like it's a home invasion type situation, and they tell them someone's either going to have to die, or someone's going to have to die to save the world, or you guys are going to have to kill us so that y'all live. They're not giving a lot of details about what the movie is actually going on, but it's pretty much a dilemma of like, you either die or the world dies. So M. Night Shyamalan's clearly working with some big ideas like always. But I mean, if you look back at the things that he's done recently, After Earth, The Visit, Glass, Old, they don't get good reviews. M. Night Shyamalan, I mean, if you go way back, like in the terrible times, he had Last Airbender, The Happening, Lady in the Water, which are just some of the stupidest movies out there.
Yes.
The Happening in particular is a fantastic time. That's probably the best he's done in terms of the bad movies. That's an incredible time. But they're all terrible. Old, some people liked Old. I mean, I think there's some value in it, but still, it's as creepy as it is laughable. You have to go back to like 2016 Split. I thought was a fantastic movie. That was kind of like, that was him kind of coming back and saying, I'm still here. I can still tell. I can still surprise you and not make you roll your eyes. I think Split's a fantastic movie. It didn't feel like he fulfilled the promise though in the like next two movies he did after that. So Knock at the Cabin, it's going to be interesting to see. I feel like M. Night Shyamalan went through a phase where he became very pretentious. There was a whole bunch of like he did American Express commercials. He'd do interviews where he would put himself out there as kind of like the new like great American, almost like author. He told stories that were important and they challenged you. And that was when he made his worst stuff, when he was kind of in that phase. And I think he might be coming back around to a point where he's like, I'm just here, I'm trying to give you a good date movie. I'm here to give you a good 2 hours in the theater that's going to make you guys freak out or something like that. I think that while he hasn't, had fantastic success the last 6 years, I'm always rooting for M. Night Shyamalan to come out with something that's going to surprise me. Even though he's given us like 8 terrible movies, I always root for the guy to give us something really good.
You're reviewing a great movie, No Country for Old Men, right? Coming up.
We watched it recently. Yeah. And it's been about 5 years since I saw this movie last, and it's still there. It's such a simple story, very simple cat and mouse story. A guy, it's like in the 70s, a guy out in the desert finds a bag of money, and then one of the scariest characters of all time chases after him for it. That's the movie. But somehow it is still just one of the most intense. It's still slow, but not in a boring way at all. It's constantly keeping you on the edge of your seat. You constantly feel this like impending danger, this just right next to you. Perfectly played in that character, Anton Chigurh by Javier Bardem. Just one of the best performances probably of the last 2 decades. Fantastic movie. So we'll just break down kind of what makes it tick, what's good about it. The year that it came out, it was competing with some great... That was 2007. That was a great year. You had There Will Be Blood was out. No Country for Old Men was out. Assassination of Jesse James was out. So they don't make them like that anymore. It's a really good movie, and that's what we'll be talking about this week.
Speaking of freaky characters, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, is getting a sequel, right?
We talked about this. You might remember we talked about it last summer. They announced a horror version of Winnie the Pooh called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. The plot is Christopher Robin has not been to, I think it's the Enchanted Forest or the 100-Acre Wood. Mm-hmm. Christopher Robin has not been to the 100-Acre Wood for many years, and so that means Pooh and Piglet have not been fed, so they end up eating Eeyore. And then they go on a rampage, then killing other people in the woods and then on the outskirts of the woods. So it ends up being, Winnie the Pooh becomes like a slasher movie. The movie just opened this week in Mexico, and it's doing very well. It's going to open up here, I think, February 16th, so maybe in about 2 weeks. And we'll see how it goes. The movie looks like it's very low budget, but now is kind of a good time for horror movies, for low-budget horror movies. If you heard of the movie Terrifier last year, that was another one like it, low-budget movie, but tons of gore all throughout the whole thing. This Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is going for the same thing, and I'd be interested to see if people go for it. A horror movie in February is a little weird.
I'll do it then.
But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how I'd say a horror movie that is kind of that intense on the gore is more of a Halloween type thing.
That's true.
But if it does well in February, we'll see. And we're already getting a sequel, so we might as well see how it is.
It sounds like a great date night, Valentine's date night movie to me. Blood and Honey.
That's true. Yeah. So you could be the type of couple, you might go see the 3rd Magic Mike movie that's about to come out, or you could go and see, what is it? Magic Mike's Last Dance. Channing Tatum and Selma Hayek go to London.
Yeah, he's still in it. Still doing it.
Selma Hayek. Okay.
Channing.
Yeah, he's still going. The trailer looks like it's the same type of thing.
Yeah,
if that's your type of thing, it looks like it's going to deliver.
I went to see the first one in the theater with some friends, and it was like going to a strip club. Like, they had to keep all the women out of the theater, like corral us into one area before we went in, and then we went in, and it was like every man for himself.
That's hilarious.
They were up out of the seats, standing on the seats, screaming. I mean, it was the most entertaining. I could not believe it.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Wow.
I actually went to go because I'm a huge fan of Steven Soderbergh. So anything that he makes, I'm going to go and see it in the theater. And Magic Mike, that's his project. And so it's like, damn, I guess I'll go see Magic Mike in the theater. And it was like you said, the screening I was in, honestly, it was more kind of like, I think 65 plus, and those women were having a wonderful time, and good for them. Yeah. They were the market, and they delivered. Delivered.
Baton Rouge native, Steven Soderbergh.
Really?
Yeah, took classes. Yeah, took classes at. Didn't go to LSU. His dad taught at LSU, and he took some film classes at LSU.
That's right.
For hiking out to Hollywood. What is the Sex Lives and Videotape?
Yeah, Sex Lives
Great
and
movie.
I love that movie. That's one of my favorites.
It's in the Criterion.
I didn't know
Wait,
that.
it's filmed in that? I gotta watch that now.
It's a good one.
The whole thing's on about it. It won the top prize at the Cannes Film Festival when it came out. So if you want to, check out that movie. What's the other one he made? Schizopolis is another one that he made. Very weird little movie, but he filmed that around Baton Rouge. You can there's a there's scenes in it where there's cars zipping up and down I-10.
Didn't
all
he
that
make
stuff
some of
that
the
goes
ocean?
by.
He made some of the Oceans, right?
He made all the Oceans movies. Yeah,
Wow.
those were his.
Yeah.
Wait, this
Oh,
guy
no,
from Baton Rouge made the
He
Oceans.
graduated from U High.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love the Oceans movies.
It was one of those things. I think he was born in Atlanta, but
Right.
I think his dad
was
became
a
like a
professor or
teacher here.
something. Yeah.
But it's if you listen to interviews with him, brings up Baton Rouge a lot.
Yeah, he
so
does.
yeah,
He
he's
does.
a cool guy, cool filmmaker to follow.
Great to see you, buddy. Enjoy the weekend.
Y'all too. Talk to y'all later.
All right, man.
Thank
There he
you,
is,
Nate.
the 5-minute critic, Nathan Velasquez. Make sure and follow him on YouTube and hit him on social media as Nate breaking down breaking down movies for us on the 5-minute critic. Yeah. Steven Soderbergh, bro.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Big Baton Rouge guy.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
The Oceans movies kind of give off a little,
Especially the early ones.
Yeah.
Those are great.
They're great.
Last week when we talked with Nate,
I mean,
meant to
Sex,
mention
Lies,
this
and
about-
Videotapes are great.
I love it. It's
It's
one
a
of my
great
top
movie.
movies. It's such a cool movie. The Last of Us, so I attempted to watch it since Nate talked about it.
Is it good?
I cannot.
It's
It's
too
too
much?
much. It's too much. It's too many like kids dying. It's
Oh,
very
gosh.
gory. It's the kids dying that does it for me. I don't
Yeah.
want that at night.
Yeah,
like I don't want to
yeah.
go through that.
I'm
Honestly,
with you.
I get it. Like people are. It's made really well. I guess like the zombie thing. It's very popular, but
out.
it's too emotional for me.
out.
So I'm out.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you. That's easy.
Yeah, I know.
That's an easy out.
It's just not what I want to do in the evening.
Katie,
know?
have you watched You People yet?
No, I
You
need
have
to
to
watch
watch it.
that.
It's great.
Everybody keeps saying
It's
that.
so
I know.
good.
I gotta
like
watch
I was
it.
talking to Mikey about it yesterday.
Yeah.
He was like,
well,
it's
he
so
was
good.
telling me about it. I mean, he was like all in.
A movie or a series?
It's a movie.
Okay.
It's Jonah Hill, Lauren London.
Oh,
And they're like a couple.
Yes.
But they have to ingrain both of their families.
Lauren London's a dime.
Yeah. But Jonah Hill is obviously a Jew.
Right.
And
Obviously.
her family is Muslim. So it's kind of like, it gets ugly. It gets ugly, but it's really good.
Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy is funny, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
And her mom is like trying to be the cool mom, trying to say cool stuff
Uh-huh.
to Lauren London, and it comes off very offensive, and she doesn't even know. Like, she has no feel.
Sure.
And it's great.
That's awesome. I
It
gotta
is.
watch it. Nia Long's in it. A lot of people are in it.
Yeah, Nia Long is her mom.
Okay. So who's Julia Louis-Dreyfus in it? Is that Jonah Hill's mom?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good cast. I'm
And
into it.
and his dad's like really cool. He's just like laid back, doesn't say much.
Really?
Yeah, he just skates the line. The mom's just
It's
Too much.
categorized as
Yes.
romance/buddy.
Yeah.
I've never seen that category. Have y'all?
No.
Romance/buddy. What does that mean? You watch it with like someone you might be
I mean,
into?
I watched it by myself. Didn't watch with anyone.
Oh, David Duchovny's in it too?
Yeah,
I'm
he's
still
the
into him.
dad.
Really?
Yeah. Why not?
Golly, is he still around?
Yeah, he aged really well. He's sexy. Real sexy.
Mm.
He's
Totally.
great in Californication.
He's great in everything.
Well, he's great in this movie too.
Is he?
He's the dad. He's just laid back, like
He's always laid back in all his
He's
roles.
like,
Like,
I'm
that's
out.
why I like him.
He's
He's
like,
like, a dick, but he's laid back.
Yeah.
A laid back dick.
he says like
Nothing
one
like
or two
it.
things that's like
That's why I like David.
off the wall. Oh God, laid back dick.
That's what he is.
That's not a bad persona.
It's not at all.
Right.
I mean, why not? You want somebody laid back, you know.
And intense.
Girls like a dick. I mean, like a person that acts like a dick is what I meant. A person
I mean,
that acts
hey,
like that, right?
a little bit of both.
Right? A little bit of both, but I mean, you know,
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
enticing.
Girls do like, you know, they like assholes. I'm saying, I've learned in my day.
I thought they did.
Yeah, look, I know they do.
They do.
Like,
It's like, be a little mean to us.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
It
I mean,
is.
Come on.
She
Everybody
might
can
be a little
admit
mean
that.
back. I'm like, oh,
Right.
I like that.
Right. Give us something to chase. Give us a little game. Can't be too nice.
For sure. For sure.
The nice
Can't be
guys,
too nice.
always lose.
Well, they're always your friends.
They always finish
You
last.
know?
See,
They're
Friend
always
zone.
friends. The ones I love to hang out with is friends.
Oh God.
Oh, God.
You don't want to be friends with somebody that's like a laid back dick.
That's the worst, like
Oh,
text
God.
message / phone call or like told in person. Just like, yeah, just see us better as friends.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
You
God,
gotta do it. You
what did I
gotta
do?
it.
like, what do I do
Will
to
you
get
come
out
with
of
me to
this?
meet this guy?
No.
What?
Will you be my wingman?
Huh?
Had a crush on you for 7
what?
years.
We're gonna fight him?
Been trying to talk to you forever. You telling me to come meet you with this dude? Like, put to punch him in his face.
Oh, well, I deleted the document, so we don't know what the hell else to do.
Have a great weekend. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. Friday, Mic'd Up coming to you today. Make sure and tune in. So stick around for that. Make sure you're following us on YouTube. Make sure you're following us on our channels. We'll be back with you on Monday morning. Like, share, follow. Brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Have a great weekend.